You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my guest is Inelia Benz. After 2004, Inelia was involved with assisting lightworkers and light warriors on their path, as well as exploring and discovering what the dark side is doing on our planet. Her main focus has been the development of tools and practices which are quick and effective in raising the awareness and vibration of individuals and the planet. In January 2010, she received a request from Source to go public. The first thing she did was to establish an information source at www.ascension101.com. Many have been deeply moved and triggered by the paradigm-shifting video first released with Bill Ryan. Since then, she has continued to work behind the scenes with other lightworkers and public figures to raise the vibration of the planet. She has also collaborated with one of my favorite guests, Lucia Renee, who wrote Unplugging the Patriarchy. She has a unique perspective, having entered our density directly outside the usual incarnational processes to assist us all and the planet. So let's welcome Inelia now to the show and find out more about her. Hi, Inelia. How are you?
Hi. I'm very, very well. Thank you.
Good. There's so much. I mean, we could begin in a million different places, but let's start when did you first begin to know that you were different from others that were born like you?
Well, basically, I knew it right away. Even as an infant, I knew that it was it was not typical of the way that I functioned and that other people functioned. However, I was lucky enough to be born in a family that had two very psychic, very aware siblings. And my mother was also a healer, and she was also very perceptive. So that was lucky in that sense. Also, her sisters are very aware and psychic. Their background being from a genetic line that are healers and psychics and seers. So growing up in that type of environment was very lucky, but at the same time, there was a learning to be done with regards to living life as a singularity or as a person, which I wasn't accustomed to. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. Well, this all would have taken place before your soul entered the physical body, isn't that correct?
Well, my soul, it's really hard to explain because most people would have a construct of the soul which has been in the timeline, or they have an experience of the timeline which is many lifetimes or a whole evolutionary process. For me, it was more like I wasn't there and then I was. Right?
Okay.
So it was like at the moment of entering what I consider this reality, my first recollections would be at the time of birth and talking to the being, which was the body being, the body experience of being, the physical body, and getting its agreement to collaborate with me or to house me so that I could experience this lifetime. A little bit like a walk-in, I suppose, but so like when a walk-in, the body continues, it's the same physical body, but the soul or the being inside it is a different one that was there before.
So in a sense, this would be your, in terms of incarnations, if you wanted to view it that way, this would be your first and last one. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I don't have that line of going in the past as a being. My body does, but not me as a being. And with regards to the future, that said, I don't really have any attachment or any, I don't know how to express it, because it's just, it really is like an attachment of continuation of existence, which I don't really have, and I will be simply dissolved back into source. I don't see any further futures, and I don't have any attachment to either way.
Now, what is the purpose that you're here for, and how do you define the source from which you and I guess all of us have emerged from?
The purpose is just one, to raise the level of vibration of the collective, because the planet's done now. The planet's fine. It's the actual collective, not just humans, but all the species, the sentient species that are involved with humans, related to humans, and in human affairs, have the possibility of raising their vibration and going on to the next stage of reality experience. And so that's my job, basically, to make sure that happens. And not just mine, there's millions of people who have come to the planet, both from other planets, from other dimensions, and also a few thousand who have come directly from source, like myself, to do that job. I'm not unique in any way on that sense.
So I remember years ago when I first started hearing about the indigos incarnating, and then of course there were various new versions of that, and that was kind of a big fad for a while. Now the indigos have had children, and they've had children, and their children have had children. So do we have a chance here to overcome the enormous darkness which has run this planet from the beginning of time?
Oh, it's not from the beginning of time. It's actually quite recent when I look at it, looking at people's timelines and looking at the planet's timeline. It's quite recent. It wouldn't be from the beginning of time. And there's many reasons why this happened. An experiment, an evolution, a meeting of duality and experience, wanting to experience duality, and all sorts of different things. But basically, the shift or the new level of awareness that should have happened or started happening in the 50s on this timeline. And as linear time, it would be in the 50s, and it was hijacked, and the enslavers, or whatever you want to call them, they try to stop it, but of course they can't. And they really have lost the battle, they have lost the war, but they just don't know it, and they continue fighting, they continue doing things like artificially creating fear, artificially creating darkness, and manipulating the masses, manipulating the collective, so that they can continue in their illusion of reality. But it's really a done deal. There is a huge awakening happening. You just have to look around. Even in everyday life, people are talking about chakras, they're talking about energy bodies, they're talking about karma, they're talking about manifestation, things that 10 years ago you could hardly ever get any information about.
That's true. That's very true. So would you say that there is a divine plan? And if so, are we on a timeline to end the many timelines and the parallel realms which have branched off this organic tree of life or original blueprint?
Could you reword that question? It's a little bit too complicated for me.
All right, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's too complicated for me, too. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay. Is there a divine plan for our planet and for this universe, for our solar system? And will these various timelines that have let's say, grown off of this one like a tree, will they be rolled back into the divine blueprint, which I'm trying to say is the divine plan?
Okay, right. Okay, so the first part of the question, is there a divine plan? There is and there isn't, because basically it was the collective, the conscious collective from many outside of time and space and also inside it, which asked for assistance on this particular timeline, in this particular reality of the planet, of this planet. So that's why so many have come here to help, and that's why we're experiencing all this change. Now, as I look into other timelines, some of them have done it already. I mean, they're already in a much more pliable reality where people are free, and there's others who are still enslaved, and others which have been deleted, destroyed or deleted. I don't really have, personally, any attachment to any outcome. I'm just doing the work, and it's really up to the collective whether it wants to go there or not. The way to choose, however, that's one of the rules that have been kind of violated on this particular timeline, which is, like keeping the masses asleep and keeping the masses dumbed down physically and psychically, and then guiding them like they were zombies into voting like a democracy, but the other does the voting. That doesn't really carry any weight, although some forces think they do. But with regards to all of the branches coming into one, I don't think that's possible, because the nature of this reality, the nature of this universe is quantum. It's like it branches everywhere, and it's everything and nothing at the same time. So all possibilities do exist at any one particular moment, right?
Well, now, according to a lot of research that has been done by people who study prophecies and the Mayan calendar and various other ancient artifacts, supposedly this particular game plan has been in effect for a certain period of time, which is coming to an end.
Yeah.
Now, is that the case? In other words, we've done everything we can possibly do on this timeline,
right?
And probably done it to death, and it's coming to an end. How? Some people call that the ascension process or the shift.
Yeah.
How do you view that, and when is that process actually going to kick in so that everybody will know?
Right. It's not going to happen overnight, you see, because this is the process I was talking about that started big time in the 50s. And it's really quite subtle, and although time and everything is accelerating, and experience is accelerating, information is accelerating, vibration is getting higher and higher every single day. What this happens is really all vibration. It's very quite simple. As the vibration of reality becomes higher and people's awareness expands, because as the higher the vibration of the person, the more aware they are. For example, if a person is very, very depressed, all they see is themselves and darkness, right? So they feel very lonely, very disconnected, very sad, very upset, and they just see a black pit around them. So that would be kind of the lowest vibration a person can be. As they start raising in vibration, their awareness goes outward, so they see their environment, they see their house, maybe they'll tidy up their house, maybe they'll make friends, maybe they'll start talking to others, because they'll start seeing others. It's very, very practical that way. As the vibration gets higher and higher, we then become aware of more and more of our reality, of more and more of this universe. We start to perceive more, see more, and also have more power or ability to do with regards to our environment, with regards to our own life, our own bodies, and everything. So basically what happens, the higher the vibration of the person, the more pliable their life and their physical reality becomes. That's why things like The Secret or manifestation and things like that came into this collective consciousness, because the world became more pliable. And even on that, it was actually hijacked as well. It became like manifestation through ego, which is not really how to make it really effective. To make it really effective, one has to see, what's my dharma, what am I here for, and then concentrate all their efforts, manifestation efforts, to achieve that, and then it becomes